So interacting with other students and with your teacher can be kind of weird when it's online because you don't really get to see them face to face too often. I mean, there have been times where, like when I was homeschooling when I was younger, we would meet up and we'd have to have a group class like once a month or so. Or there just happened to be people that I know that I was friends with that were homeschooling, so we could do our work together. Um, so I mean, you can kind of make relationships with other students in person, but the biggest thing, I took an online class here as part of my educational psychology course, where you had to interact with a discussion board and you had to post so many questions and responses and have dialogues between multiple people. And even though I didn't know the people, like if I didn't see their face, I still was able to get to know them a little bit by their questions. And like one of the questions was, well, why do you want to be a teacher? It's like the introductory question. So that was really cool to get to see as to why the other people that were in my little discussion group wanted to go into the education profession.
I think the online community is big. Even I know actually a couple people that they sit around on the computer all day. They're on YouTube talking to people, Reddit, forums, just other stuff. There's communication online is there's people out there online just sitting there waiting for you is what it seems like. So like keeping that in mind, I feel like online classes could be the same. Talking to people, your teacher, you do have a chance to interact with other people or other classmates and find out information. It's when you need information, you can Google it or go to somewhere and find the answer easily and reliably.
Interactions and relationships in online environments can certainly be real and authentic and valuable, but it does take a little bit of design and intentionality on the teacher's part to make those spaces for students. I think at the very beginning of an online class, an introduction is crucial. And again, a lot of things can be done text-based, but I feel like using images and using video and audio enhances our ability to really connect with each other. So I encourage you at the very beginning of a class to do introductions where you introduce yourself as a teacher and then you provide a space for students to introduce themselves. And again, they could do this in a discussion board, text-based. They could also upload a photo. They could do video. They could make it a YouTube video or some other way to share who they are. And again, there are a variety of internet tools. If you go to Cool Tools for Schools website and just look at the categories of tools and ways that you can then integrate things within your virtual world, there are a lot of ways then to get to know each other. And then as you go through the course, if you provide spaces for students to either interact with the material or interact with each other about the material, and you're also clear about how they can contact you and that you're responsive to them, you will find that you build relationships. I've been teaching online courses for over 10 years, and I'm amazed at the students that will say, oh, it was so good to get to know you, and we had such a good time, and I feel like, even though I've never met you face to face, you're one of my colleagues and someone that I can really relate to. So it was kind of amazing to me at first because I'm one of those people that really likes relationships with my students, and when I was only teaching face to face, I was a little bit concerned that I would lose that. And I can't say that it's exactly the same thing because we can all put on sort of our virtual faces and maybe hide from each other other things. But you can also do that in a face-to-face world where you've compartmentalized your life and yourself. So I think that you can set up ways that you can get to know your students, they can get to know you, and they can get to know each other also while engaging in the content that you're trying to teach.
They certainly can. I mean, they can interact with each other in a discussion board. They can interact with each other and me in the chat room. They can interact with me asynchronously in the discussion board. They can also work together in groups. I typically use Canvas and the group setting for my live classes, my face-to-face classes, where I have students who are actively learning together. My weather and climate class, which is the big one that I teach online, has so much work to begin with that I really hate the idea of creating a group structure to force them to do even more work. So they typically are really good in the discussion board, saying the asynchronous part of the conversation. They're very good at communicating with each other. I force that. So the communication participation part of my course syllabus online is always 20% of the grade minimum. Because in an online setting, when you're just in a room with four walls without any other students, it can be incredibly isolating. Some students do not work well at all in isolation, in that sort of a vacuum. So I force them to either ask questions or provide responses to other students' questions. And they have a minimum, I think it's a minimum of 10 conversations that they have to participate in or start in a semester, which is really low. And that's just for a minimal passing grade. It's a D- participation grade. If they want to actually go up from there, they have to participate a lot more. So they have to be asking questions or they have to be providing responses. And I grade them not just on their number, but on the quality of the questions and the responses, as well as their continuity through the semester. So if there's a big gap in their participation, that hurts their grades. So I make it hard for them, if they want a good grade, not to participate. And that seems to work well.